Now on OTB AM, we're turning to the man of the moment. Carlowman Pádraig Amond is joining us on the line. Here's how he knocked Leicester City out of the FA Cup yesterday evening.
Newport County will have a penalty to go in front again with 6 minutes to go. 15 goals this season to put Newport back in front, and he has done. Straight down the middle. It's back on.
Pádraig Amond, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning.
How did you sleep last night?
I didn't really sleep, if I'm being honest with you. I was tossing and turning, thinking about the game again and stuff like that, and replaying it all over my head. And it was, it's one of the best worst night's sleep I've ever had. Take
us back to the penalty. So you know you're the penalty taker. The penalty gets awarded. What goes through your mind from that moment all the way through to you jumping to celebrate at the corner flag?
Obviously, when the ball hit his hand, I didn't think he was going to give it, because I don't think, usually the lower teams don't get those decisions. But fair play to the referee, he gave it, and it was a penalty, and it was just a case get the ball and put the ball down the spot quick, and don't let anyone try to get into your head. And there was a couple of the Leicester players trying saying a few things to me to try put me off. And I used to play with the goalkeeper as well at Morecambe, so he would have faced a lot of my penalties in training. So I was just hoping either he forgot what I do, or just hope he goes the wrong way. And I was actually going to go the side he went, but he went just a little bit earlier, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I changed my mind literally last second. And I know you're not supposed to do that. You're not told to do that, but thankfully I did. And when the ball hit the back of the net, obviously it was just an unbelievable feeling. And especially when we were just after conceding just a couple of minutes beforehand, there was a very similar game to the Spurs one last year where we were so close, and then a late goal kind of takes away that moment from the team. And this year, thankfully, we actually got our moment, and we have the draw to look forward to for the next round. What were the Leicester players saying to you as a matter of interest, trying to get in your head? There was a couple saying this will be the biggest penalty you will ever take. Don't miss. Look at all the TV cameras. It's stuff you kind of hear every time you do take a penalty, but probably it's a bit different than taking a penalty in League Two when there's not as many cameras on you, or the player who's saying it to you isn't an England international either, So, yeah. But yeah, thankfully the ball went in, and when I do jump up and celebrate, I did have a little look back at the player who had said it to me, and but yeah, thankfully it went
in. Don't be afraid to name names here, Pádraig.
It was James Maddison.
Right. If you played bingo on which Leicester player was likely to trash talk, we probably all would have had James Maddison.
Yeah, no, but look, at the same time, you fully expect things like, I'd be disappointed if one of our players wasn't saying something like that to them, because you have to try to get in the player's head, because they didn't want to be on the end of a massive upset. We knew at half time when we were going off the pitch the amount of stick the fans were giving them, and then we could hear the manager fleecing them in the dressing room at half time. So we knew that there was pressure on them, and I don't think they expected us to do what we did to them yesterday.
That's mad. You can hear Puel at half time giving out to them.
Yeah, because we have a couple of minutes to ourselves before our manager comes in. Him and the staff go into another room and have a quick chat, and we have a chat amongst ourselves as players first. We could hear a little bit going on in the other room, and you fully expect it again. You'd be nearly disappointed if you weren't hearing their manager getting into them, and that kind of basically we sat down and had a couple of minutes and just were like, look, listen to that. That's what we've done in the first half. Make sure we don't disappoint them in the second half. Keep frustrating them, and keep doing what we have to do to try to keep the ball out of the net, whatever it takes. We don't lose. When we don't lose our chance like we did last year.
Well, that's the thing. Like, over the course of the weekend, Pádraig, I'm sure you've seen there's been some absolute drubbings handed out over the course of the FA Cup. There was no gulf in quality apparent, really, watching that game last night.
Watching the Spurs game on Friday night was a little bit... We went into training Saturday morning and everyone was kind of like... It kind of puts our result into perspective last year, it wasn't a bad performance from us, and then it was, oh, let's not laugh or let's not say too much, because you never know what it could end up tomorrow either. And then obviously no one gave us a chance going into the game, apart from probably the players in the dressing room and the staff. And we have belief going into any game, because look, anyone can beat anybody. You just need things to go right for you in the May. You need to take a chance. You need a bit of luck. And you need them to make a couple of changes as well, which they did. And we were obviously, when we saw the team sheet, there was a couple of names missing on it, which was very, very pleasing for us. Some people might say, "Oh, you'd be disappointed such and such didn't play." I was like, "No, delighted Vardy wasn't playing, because he would have relished coming to a place like our place, because he's used to it when he was coming through the ranks as well." And it was just brilliant to be able to hold on for the victory and get the just rewards, because as much as last year was brilliant with the Spurs one, the moral victory of it all. I'd said before the game that this game was a bigger game, because we were welcoming the Premier League champions from a couple of years ago. And it's not very often you get to play against, people who have captained their team to win the Premier League, and you're playing against Johnny Evans, who's won, I don't know how many Premier League titles he's won, and a lot of the Leicester players had won the title as well. So, it doesn't happen very often, but to turn them over makes it even more special.
Do you think about what this does kind of in the context of the Cup? Because we were speaking at the top of the show here about every single back page here, bar maybe one this morning, is your picture on the back page. And I understand that's the same with a lot of the newspapers in the UK this morning. Newport County are the story of the weekend. And it is stories like this that make the FA Cup the thing that tunes us all in week after week. Yeah,
before last year, you can be very critical of kind of saying the magic has kind of gone from the Cup. The bigger teams disrespected it a little bit with the changes they made, and now you understand why they make as many changes as they do. But look, in fairness to Spurs last year and to Leicester this year, they didn't really disrespect us. Spurs played a very strong team, and Leicester played a very strong team that was available to them, because we knew they had a couple of injuries and sickness and stuff like that. So a couple of the players were unavailable. But yeah, it is a bit mad. My dad sent me over, I think he's been out and he's bought all the papers this morning already, and he sent me a picture of them all over this morning, which was, surreal, seeing my picture on the back of them all. And I'm going to head out and get a couple over here as well, and just kind of relish it all, to be honest with you, because look, this doesn't happen very often. This is it's an unbelievable feeling, an unbelievable moment, and as I said, I'm going to relish it all.
Yeah, no, and I was talking about that a little bit earlier on. Like, yours is one of those professional careers in football where it's a grind to make it, but then you do make it, and you get a moment like this, and it's all worthwhile. Yeah,
completely. Look, I've been lucky enough to play over here for the last I think 8 years, and obviously before that I had a little spell in Portugal, and then my time in Ireland as well, which I've loved every moment. From the minute I could kick a football, all I wanted to do was play football for a living, and I don't class this as a job. It's a hobby, like, do you know what I mean? It's just something I get to do, get up every day and go to training, get to play football on the weekend in front of a few thousand people, and that's the stuff people always dream of doing. And I hope it can continue for quite a long time to come. I've no plan on slowing down yet, and I'm just really, really enjoying it all.
Like that's a remarkable attitude to have, because the more we read and the kind of more and more professional football gets, and the more pressure that is on individual players, the less and less we hear that sort of view, that it is ultimately people like you doing the thing that they love.
Yeah, look, it's like anything. Anyone can grow up wanting to. You have a dream when you're growing up of what you want to do. Look, don't get me wrong, when I was growing up, it was Man United or someone like that I wanted to play for. But at the same time, you don't realise the calibre of the players that are in the lower leagues over here. And, if you took one player out of each team and put them in a couple of divisions higher, they wouldn't look out of place, if that makes sense to you, because the qualities of them all are very good. And it's the same with, you put defenders in bigger teams, and it's the same kind of concept. it's the same job, the same as midfielders and the same as strikers and goalkeepers as well. So, you know, there are very good players in the lower leagues. I think sometimes it's maybe disrespected a little bit, but I can understand as well, because people are just used to watching the Premier League, you know, because it's so freely available, and then they probably get 25 minutes or half an hour of highlights on the TV of the lower leagues each week. But you know, at the same time, there's clubs over here, like for our club at the minute, Newport, that the club nearly, well, it did go. It went out of existence, and a group of fans got it back, and you know, they fought and fought for what they loved. And you know, the result yesterday is for people like that who had fought so hard to get the club back to where they wanted it to be. And I think in the 80s they got to when John Aldridge was there, they were in the Cup Winners' Cup quarter final. You know, so they've had big days before. So hopefully a day like yesterday can inspire the younger players or the younger people in Newport to want to go up and play for Newport, rather than the Cardiff or the Swansea. You know, you can still have that dream, but then when they play for someone like Newport, it means something for them.
Did you hurl for Carlow as a minor? Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I probably shouldn't have been, but I did.
It shouldn't have been because it was you were playing football seriously at the same time as well.
I was playing with Shamrock Rovers in the first team, and I played a game for Carlow about 3 hours before I played for Shamrock Rovers.
Wow.
One day, and because I was quite naive. I didn't want to let anyone down. And I told the Carlow manager, who was Tommy Buggy at the time, that, look, I can't do that. I can't. You know, and he said, well, look, we'll put you down on the programme as a different name and stay out of team photos and all that. And I kind of only got caught when we beat Offaly in the semi-final, and I scored a couple of goals in the last minute to get us there. And I remember having a conversation with Pat Scully then afterwards, and thankfully he was very good to me. He was excellent, you know, with me, and he let me finish out the season. But yes, my career could have been over before it even started. But to be honest, I didn't want to let anyone down, because I'd been training with Carlow from the October before, and obviously the season had started in March. But I wasn't in the first team at Shamrock Rovers. I broke into it kind of 2 weeks into the season. So it was never on my radar of that. And then all of a sudden, I was juggling everything. I was playing minor football as well at the time, but that didn't get as much airtime as the minor hurling did. So I was doing everything at the time, and just because I love playing sports, I love GAA, I love soccer as well, and I just wanted to play as much sport as I could. And you know, I kind of was lucky that Pat Scully was very good to me, and you know, he said to me, look, you can finish the season. We had kind of a couple of games left with Kilkenny in the Leinster final, and then whoever were going to play in the All-Ireland quarter-final. And then that was the last game I played, the All-Ireland quarter-final, and then I concentrated fully on soccer from then on.
If it wasn't going to be GAA or football, was there a chance it could have been something to do with racing? Because I know you've got family involved with the Willie Mullins camp, with the Jessica Harrington camp, and with the Gordon Elliott camp at the moment.
Yeah, no, it probably wasn't, to be honest with you. I've never been, you know, we weren't brought up in, I've obviously got a lot of family involved in horse racing and stuff like that, but we were never, it was never from my family, if that makes sense, direct family. But yeah, we've a couple of cousins, my grandmother and grandfather work for Willie as well. So yeah, they've quite a lot of people involved in it, and obviously they're doing fantastic. The three stables as well are doing really, really well, and you know, it's brilliant to especially for Willie to have someone like him putting Carlow on the map every weekend is unbelievable. And you know, he's only getting better and better as well, and it's great for the whole county, I think. Yeah, no, for sure. Pádraig, who do you want in the next round? Is it Man United all the way? Yeah, 100%. Away from home, Old Trafford. But then probably the best chance you ever beating him is at Rodney Parade. So, you know, if you take him to Rodney Parade first and then see what happens. But either way, it's just great to be able to sit here and talk about being in the draw for the fourth round. The likelihood is the game will be on TV again after yesterday. You know, whoever we get will sense a giant killing again. And look, that was one of the reasons the BBC put us on TV yesterday. You know, you possibly see that there was going to be a bit of a giant killing. although when we were watching the analysis of them during the week when they beat City and Chelsea, I think a few of the players lost a little bit of the belief that they had. But you know, that just goes to show how good the victory was yesterday, and the best thing about it all was it was a deserved victory.
Somebody's texted in wondering, what was your fake name in GAA? Who did you, or was it somebody else that they put you down as? Did you have a proper fake name?
Just Brendan. Brendan. It was my second name is Brendan, so they just put the programme down as Brendan Amond.
That's not exactly throwing people off the scent.
There was nothing illegal about it. It was all done above board.
Fair enough. Pádraig, great stuff. Congratulations. Thanks a million for joining us this morning.
Thanks very much.
It's Pádraig Amond there giving us some amazing response and reflection on that game.
James Maddison trying to ice the penalty taker, if we can use the NFL phrase.
Screw you, James Maddison.